Everybody, Jeff Hirsch here as we kick off episode 2 of the SaaS plus social series, where we are taking Reviewly.ai and giving you the documentary of how we are growing it from absolutely zero into a full social media presence where you get to know behind the scenes, what we're doing, all the wins, all the hurdles, all the things that we've overcome, or the challenges that we faced. And we're doing this once a month for a while to just go through it and walk you through each piece of the steps. So I've got Dorien with me, and we were just talking in the green room before we came on here of like where things are going and some of the attention that our company is already getting from this series, where I haven't really mentioned this too much, but I've got multi-location businesses, larger agencies that are just like looking around and searching, and then the know and trust factor, seeing who we are, reaching out to do a demo. And we're talking like not just 5-10 clients, we're talking several hundred clients a quarter coming on board type clients, to even VC firms and companies now reaching out just based on the fact that I guess we're just putting it out there. So we've got a couple of big things that we want to talk about today over what we've done over the last month. And Dorien, you are the social media strategist for the company, and you've done a great job so far for where we're at. So what have we seen over the last several weeks as we kick this off?
Okay, so we're about 45 days in. When we recorded last, we were just about at 30 days. So we did a 30-day, what we learned. And even from the 30 days to where we are now, I've seen huge strides. And I really wanted to blanket social media with our presence. And I have this awesome tool that now is giving me benchmark and all kinds of things. But in the last 45 days, we had done 173 posts over 5 different platforms, just to wrap your head around what we're doing. And some of those posts, of course, are duplicates, but some are different and new, depending on what platform we're on. Putting the content out was the first task that we needed to be seen, right? And now what I'm looking at is data every single day on what type of content hits the mark. And 2 posts have done really well, where it was storytelling, Jeff. When you say, hey, I've got a story, I went to an RV park and I ended up showing them my product, and that story did really well, both on TikTok and Instagram. That video was seen on YouTube. And then we did a second one that also had the title story or storytelling in the title, and that one did well too. So what I'm taking from that is, okay, we've got to tell more stories. We already know that, of course, but some of the other things we're doing is also getting attention, right? So we're doing some memes, which people like, right? We are getting some engagement, people starting to talk to us. We've also reactivated that Facebook group, and the engagement in that Facebook group is through the roof. We've got close to 200 new members in that group. So all kinds of stuff is happening there. So we're building that community, that feel where people can come. If they want to talk to us, if you want to talk to us, that's a great place to come to the group. It's called Digital Marketer Community. So that's another great place. Then as far as benchmarking us to our competitors, right? It's one thing to say, hey, we did 173 posts, our engagement is good. It's another one to benchmark us against. There's 5 competitors out there that we did an analysis for. And the biggest thing that I've seen is that there is a competitor out there, for example, that has close to 35,000 followers on Facebook. We have 20 likes and 71 followers on Facebook. Yet we reached 700 people in the last 30 days. They reached 1,700 people in the last 30 days.
So it's quality over quantity in that case, right? They're buying the persona, the person behind it versus the corporate image.
Yes. So we're reaching, if you were to look at, if we double our followers or triple it, for example, if we get to 200 followers, we probably reach more people than them. So those are the metrics that are really important. What are people looking at? How is the engagement rate? People are liking our things. One of our TikTok videos, 40 people liked it. That was your storytelling one. So we're going to do more of that. There's some new things I'm testing, some things that I've done. Let me just go through. The best platforms right now for Reviewly are TikTok and YouTube. YouTube Shorts are doing super well. We've got easily 300, 400, 500 views on each TikTok, on each short. So that's really great. The LinkedIn Articles, I think I mentioned that last time. Every week we publish a LinkedIn article on our LinkedIn page. Every Tuesday, I can see a spike in our reach. So it reaches more people. LinkedIn pushes it out. We're very small on LinkedIn, but again, that's something we can do consistently. It will build up our audience. We've completed all the SEO updates on the blog. So we're now seeing more traffic coming because the SEO is tightened up. We are backlinking and forward linking all of the articles that we had already been written. So I went in there and did some magic there. So that's now producing more organic traffic. And so what's coming up next is we're going to work on your profile, Jeff. We're going to start getting your thought leadership out there. You are not just the face of Reviewly, but you're also the whole person behind it, right? The mastermind. So we want to get your thoughts on the AI industry and on the review reputation management industry, all of that, your experience. So we're going to reactivate your LinkedIn. We send out our first email newsletter. Now we're sending out all kinds of emails, but we weren't having conversations in our email. So we're sending out a first email newsletter. That's where we start asking people questions and want response back from them. Instead of just giving them information, we want to have a conversation with them on email. I did my first native TikTok, which is, again, if you're watching this and you're on TikTok, you're like, Dorien, you should have done that a lot before. We just didn't have the resources. We just needed to put some stuff out. So now I'm going in the app. So one of the things that I want to play with in the next 2 to 4 weeks is, trends, filters, stitching things. We're going to have fun on TikTok, but we had to just get our feet wet in there. And then Instagram stories, the same thing. We're going to start creating stories, content specifically for those. We've worked on reels, we've worked on posts, and the feed looks good. So now we can move on to Instagram stories. So just if you're watching this and you're like, oh, it's a lot, it is a lot. So we've got to implement it in phases, and that's what we're doing. So now we've blanketed 173 posts, and now we're going to really get very specific on some of the platforms and some of the things we're doing.
Yeah. And before we jump into the data, like some key points on this, like you said, we're doing a lot. And I came to you, I was like, hey, I got Reviewly, but then I got the Jeff Hershey brand. Like, hey, by the way, I've got this other Instagram account. I got this. And it's, whoa. It's the same thing I did when we trained the guys when we first started this company is put the website up. And then the website's constantly in development. We keep improving it. It's like a little bit of that 1% daily. What can we do every day to make it a little bit better? And there's certain stuff that like, I no longer do that, or now that's automated or things like that. And it's the point where like with social media, I can't say I do nothing, but technically I do nothing. I just show up. I do what I normally do, which is, except for I record it now, and I send it over and it's done. But that's the process and the SOP that we've built around this is, look, I don't want to be editing, cutting, and doing any other stuff. It's not my time. It's not the best suit of my time. So for me as the creator, it's, hey, write down 4 or 5 ideas. I've got a closet right here, just off camera. I will swap out 2 or 3 shirts on a Tuesday in the afternoon. I'll block off an hour or two, and maybe it would be like only need 30 minutes, but like I'll block off a little bit of time, and then I'll make sure that I do enough content that the team has the setup where they have 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks forward worth of stuff. And then I've got like, I call them flybys, like little ideas that we've had before. And those flybys just sit in a notepad. I've got like 120 flybys that I can cover. Either it's something that I swiped from somebody else that I thought was a good idea or a thought process, or I had a thought or a note that I was like, oh yeah, I need to talk about this, or how do we do this? And I just put it in there. And then if I run short on content, which is stuff that I'm sharing normally in the Facebook group now. So like I've taken the point where I think it was last week, maybe it was this week or last week, I got off a sales call and immediately recorded a video. I didn't go live. I just recorded a video on QuickTime and then posted the Facebook group of like, hey, I had a 23 location, multi-location business that basically I'm taking them from a competitor because of the 3 key factors that we can do. And then we add the physical devices, and they were just like blown away from what we can do. And people could tell the excitement because it was raw. It was like, literally, I got off the call, turned on the video, and was like, I just got off a call. And people love that. So we can use that as different content, but it also is sitting in the Facebook group from there. I'm trying to change it up a little bit of the story and the real to what's happening, but just trying to get a little bit better each day. And if I block off the time. Dorien's like, you can't wear the same, either you have to wear the same shirt 100% of the time, or you got to switch it up. So I've got 4 or 5 outfit changes where I'll just be like, all right, I did 2 videos. That's enough for this polo shirt. I got to go change it. And if I'm already in the mode, now you can use that content for months and it doesn't look like I'm the same stagnant video that potentially was like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy before. It's a different change from
it's
there.
a different, and one of the things I wanted to share too, we now have 3 weeks worth of content scheduled out. There are opportunities if something's trending or something comes up, I can move things, but there are already 3 weeks worth of content in the tool we're using is Metricool. So it's scheduled in Metricool, but you can easily just hover and pull it to another date if we need to. And then Jeff's made another 10, 15 videos that I still have to edit. So we're good. We're actually a really great team in that regard, where I'm getting more content than I could process at this time. But I will never say stop making content, because we're going to improve. Jeff, you're improving already the exact content that I'm asking for. And it's probably going faster, coming out of you faster as you just set up and do that. And then I know better what kind of headlines, what kind of hashtags. That's the other thing I'm studying. I'll get a hashtag report, what's working, what are people clicking on. I'm experimenting with that, with the tagline, longer captions, shorter captions, all of those things. Now, if I going natively into the app, I'm going to experiment with audio, right? Because trending audio is really big, but now you have to do that in the app. You can't do that on a tool like Canva or CapCut, which are some of the tools I use for editing video. So I need to go in the apps and find the trending stuff. So there's all of these phases, but I love the way you explained that, where sometimes you just got to do stuff. So you just started the website, you got it up, and then you improve it. And that's really an agile thing. I'm an agile marketer, and that's what we say. What's the minimal viable product we can put out to start making money? And that's what you did with your website, and that's what we're doing with social media. The minimal viable product is out. And one of the things, the way I explain this, and if you're watching this and you go to conferences and your boss, and if you're a social media person and your boss is asking you to create content, what we get a lot as directives, especially from corporate, is go to this conference and come back with content. So they go to a conference Thursday, Friday, they take all this content, they go back on Monday, they present it to the team, they spend another week editing it, and 2 weeks after the conference, they have this beautiful video. You have lost all momentum. Instead, if you're watching and you're the C-suite, you should give your social media people permission to create content on the fly and to do stories and to do reels at the conference and ask questions. Hey, I'm here. Barack Obama is speaking. What should I ask him? Hey, I see this and this speaker. Maybe Brene Brown is there. I get a chance to ask her something. What should I ask her? Get the feedback and the community involved. And then the extra content that you have, you can use throughout the year to hype up next time you go to a conference. But people are doing this wrong. They want the perfect product. But really what we're doing is we're testing everything, but the minimal viable products are going out. And sometimes they're flops. Some of the things I put out hasn't really done that much, but that's okay. Then we have data that didn't work, right?
Yeah,
so
no, I agree with you 100%. Just put something out, because we're the worst critics of ourselves, especially for me. I'm like, oh, I misspoke here. I meant to say that. You have no idea that I missed a bullet point in my head, and you never will. And everyone's like, oh, I didn't say it. Just get something out there. Like nothing, you're not recording a movie, right? You're just having a conversation with other people. And when you're having the day-to-day conversation, you're authentic. And I think people can get robotic with this, right? I think over the last 15 years or so, I can do a lot of things in one take. I don't do 15 takes. Like even my sales videos, I will just turn on the camera, know my main points, and be like, I liked it. It was good enough. And then we go from there, versus I got to spend a week and a half editing, cutting every little set. The person watching it doesn't care. They don't even know that you missed one main point, or you forgot, or it's backward. Like, just get something out there, especially with social media, because it's like, it comes and goes so fast. You watch a TikTok, you watch a reel. I forgot 3 videos back what I watched, unless I click through to your website to go somewhere. So the goal is just get it out there.
Right. And the other thing that I want to talk about is we're doing a lot of this content that's going to sit on these feeds, right? We're going to have a TikTok feed. We're going to have an Instagram feed. We're going to have Facebook. We're just building this up. 45 days in, lots of content. The idea is that when we hit gold, when we get a viral video or a viral post or something, what happens then is people aren't just going to watch that one thing. They're going to want to know more about you. And if you've only tried to hit that high point, and you only have produced 4 pieces of content and you hit that virality and you get that, then there's nothing for them to watch. When we hit that point, we're going to have a video that's going to hit 60,000 or 100,000 views at one point. They're going to come back and consume all the other stuff we've done, and then they get to know us. So that's the whole strategy behind putting out a lot of content now as well, is we're putting out a variety of content. People are going to get to know us, that when the time is ripe and when we get that video, there's going to be content there for them to consume, and then for them to want to be part of our community.
Yeah, and I think that's a key part. Just keep putting things out there, because it's just having a conversation with another human being. Like you don't realize that, like, you misspeak half the time and you stop, and it doesn't. There's no need for perfection in any of this.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So what do our stats look like? We've been doing this, you said 45 to 60 days now, right? We've been going, we got this going. Like, we've seen, obviously we're seeing an uptick. I've got folks that I haven't talked to in 7 years reaching out to me. That's a key factor. Oh, hey, it's been a while. And then they're sending me their name via text message. Hey, it's so-and-so. I'm like, you're in my phone, or they tag me on social media. So I've got partners and other people that are outreaching, agencies that are like, yeah, we were looking for something. We were Googling Google reviews or something like that. I forget what one of them said. And then you came up and we started watching videos, and now we're on a call.
Right.
We're like, I'm not sure where I found you, but I saw you. Like, it wasn't like, hey, like they saw me personally. Right. And I get a lot of larger companies can't necessarily take the CEO or the owner and be like, hey, you're going to be the spokesperson for the entire company. But if you have the opportunity to just put something out there and be personable and have your thoughts on it, it really does make a difference.
And I would recommend, if you get that, if you're able to do that, and even when the plan is in 2 years or a year from now that you phase out that person, you bring in a second person. Like right now, of course, I'm visible too for Reviewly. And if we hire more people on the marketing team, we got to make sure that we have several people on there. I don't want to get stuck with one person. Yeah. But right now, you being out there adds it's huge value added. Like you said, you go into these sales calls and people are like, oh, you're the guy I just saw on Instagram. You're actually doing the demo with me. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. I'm in the analytics and benchmarking tool that I use. It's called Social Insider. Shout out to Social Insider. They're an amazing tool. I've worked with them for 5 years. So I'm benchmarking our data against 5 competitors. I'm not going to name them, but our stats for our overall brand are, we have 164 followers total. We've gained 21 in the last 2 weeks. Our engagement rate is 9.49, which our closest competitors is 0.043.
So that's like here and here. Obviously, our numbers are significantly less than theirs, but as we get our numbers up, it's going to be, we'll have a loyal followership that will engage and comment and be part of that.
So all we need to do now is stay the course, stay consistent, and build up our audience and keep that momentum on the engagement, which will be eventually, it'll be that hockey stick where all of a sudden we'll get something that'll really land with everybody. And then we are going to start gaining followers, and then we're ahead because now we're engaging and now we're doing all the things and we're going to outpace everybody. So as far as engagement, we've outpaced everybody. Same with reach. And if I go to each platform, I'll be happy to share with you, like our reach on, like I was saying, on, for example, Facebook, we have 22 fans, 71 followers. We reached 781 people in the last 2 weeks. Our closest competitor has 34,000 followers, and they reached 1,750 people this week, the last 2 weeks. So they reached 1,000 people more, but we have 22 likes and they have 34,000 likes. So again, our engagement's up, our reach is really high because we have engagement. Those two numbers are tied together. If we go to Instagram, let me pull that up. So actually, this tool is so amazing. It just benchmarks you against whoever you want. 3 out of the 5 competitors of Instagram, everybody has Facebook, but not everybody's Instagram. So 3 competitors, our engagement rate is 7.143. Our closest competitor is 0.15. So again, 0.15 against 7.15, that's huge engagement rate on Instagram. Twitter, I'm not really looking. X, I'm not really looking at that very much. Although if you look at engagement rate, again, The engagement rate for a profile is 41.667%, and the nearest competitor is 0.3.
Yeah,
So
so
it's just,
realistically, no one's home in any of those places, right? They're
yes.
ghost towns. They're almost fodder, right? At that point, it's vanity followership at that point, because we actually have the engaged folks that are paying attention.
What they probably have is a very automated social media system where they're putting out content and they're not doing social listening, which, if you're watching this, if you've never done or heard this term, social listening, is where you are looking for conversation. So you're listening to your hashtag, obviously, where people mention you. You can set up Google alerts or whatever, so you can be part of the conversation, either for your name or for your industry. So if somebody talks about Google reviews, I want to be part of the conversation as Reviewly, right? That's part of social listening.
Yep.
And so they're just pushing out content that's called broadcasting, but not really engaging.
Yeah, so it's almost just like you're not doing any sort of value to the audience that you have. You're not providing anything other than, it's like a billboard on the side of the road. You just drive by it and it happens to be there, right? Versus the, hey, you can actually have the conversation with the folks that are online with you.
Yeah. In social media, the way we call that is old school media, which was TV, radio, newspaper. You blanket it out to everybody, right? You give everybody the same message. You're not really targeting your audience, and you're giving everybody the same message, like a TV commercial. Yeah, you can maybe pick what channel the commercial's on, but you're trying to target everybody. Whereas in social media, you can actually target one person if you needed to and get them a specific message with Facebook or however, wherever you're advertising. So the new media is where you don't just put messages out, but you're ready to receive the messages. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, especially if they're in corporate and they maybe don't have a team that's tasked with doing that. And I think it's really important to be listening to see what people are saying and what the questions are. Because
Yeah.
if you are watching us and you have a question and you ask us a question, next up on Jeff's agenda is going to be answering that question in a video.
Yeah, exactly. And I
So,
do it in the Facebook group.
yeah.
If somebody, and I catch the ones that people don't tag me sometimes. I think I got all of them this week. But if somebody tags you, you get an answer, you get a response. There's a human on the other side. I think that's a big thing, especially like social media, of having the opportunity to have that conversation and not just like coldly put it out there. There's a warm conversation to be had with all of that.
Yeah. So if we go to YouTube, 3 of our competitors are on YouTube. One competitor posted 5 videos. We posted 33 in the last 4 weeks. Our engagement rate on YouTube is 141.379%. The only competitor who has any engagement is 0.5%. So we have 4,500 views in those days, and we jumped. When I started 45 days ago, we had 17 subscribers. We are now at 29. So that also is going to go up. People are just coming to us and watching our videos and watching our shorts. If you are watching this and you are in charge of any brand, if you have any kind of videos, if you're not doing shorts, you're leaving money on the table. So start cutting videos into smaller bits, less than a minute. They're driving all the engagement and they're driving all the views right now for Reviewly. And I think that's just a great missed opportunity that people have. And yeah, it's doing really well for us. Only one of our competitors is on TikTok and they haven't posted anything in the last 4 weeks. We've posted 18 posts, so our engagement rate there is over 600%. So yeah, we got lots of likes and views. And let me see, the last one's LinkedIn. Let me pull that one up, see what we're doing there. Yeah, the engagement rate there is a lot lower, as you would expect, but it's still almost 3%, 2.9, and our closest competitor is 0.07. So I didn't pull up any reach here, but that's the cool part about this. Let me see if I can just pull up reach since I'm in here. Followers growth. See if I can find that instead of just engagement, but I can't. It's by impressions. Maybe if I can
I
add
think
that
the
to
biggest
it.
thing here is it's for what we're doing. Oh, some people might be like, oh, no one's doing social in this industry. And so for me, it was like, why not? It was a huge opportunity. Instead of going and fighting ad cost for a
Yeah.
software subscriber, I'm trying to go win people over to be followers to then become a software subscriber from there. I think that's a big differentiator of when you're looking at it, maybe nobody's doing it because they don't get it or they're not quite there yet. And I was surprised when we looked at some of the competitors, like there isn't anything out there at the level that I was like, we can go out and really.
And the other thing that we're doing, I'm also looking out for posts that do well organically, because of course I want to do more organically, that stuff that works, and I want to have engagement. But I also know we're going to ramp up our advertising budget soon. And so whatever does well organically, most likely is a great place to start for a paid campaign as well. It works both ways. If a paid campaign does, I can also pull some of that data from there and the visuals and the copy to pull into organic and see if that works. But oftentimes it works the other way. We blanket it with organic posts, and then the things that rise to the top that do, you have a starting point for your next Facebook ad campaign. So once we get ready for that, we'll have some data points to say, hey, this worked really well, this worked really well, and let's run that as ads. And again, working together with the other people in the team, that's going to be really important to have this data.
Yeah, I think that'll be really impactful for us to be like, hey, this is what's making a difference. And this will be that one thing that maybe gets somebody to come over the edge, right? When they look at what they're like, oh, that one key thing you said got me to book the call, got me to take the trial, got me to buy, whatever it is. And we're just building it from there. And it just compiles and compounds over time so that you're like, somebody might not even watch the videos, but we get to a point where we've got 1,000 videos online. These guys know what they're doing. They didn't put 1,000 videos out because they weren't getting a return on that investment, or they weren't putting the effort in there. Right. We're doing it with a strategy and a plan, and you've come on board to do it. And we saw the vision early, but now when we talked about it in the last episode, like it was a 0-0 company. Like it was 0 followers, 0 people. And you might be like, oh, you only got 30 followers. Oh, you only have 100 likes. You got to start somewhere. There's one point where you only had 1 email subscriber. You only had 1 customer, right? And over time, that starts to compile and grow and compound and more. It just, there's a point where we talked about it before this, and I'll always talk about like the hockey stick's going to happen, right? Like where it just, the tipping point's there, the dam's going to break. So we are seeing that with a lot of different things inside the company right now that are making turns around the corner. We're starting to see the sunlight around the other side of things. It's and this is just one thing that's going to help us get there a little bit faster. So we brought on new business, new partners and things just based off of the little bit that we've done. I mean, we've done a lot, but like a little bit we've done over the last 30, 45 days to get this going has already shown an ROI for us. And while you might not be able to measure that directly, if you really look back and you ask the questions on demos, if you ask the questions or I've had folks that have reached out on social media of a comment on a video or something that I've done, and they're like, hey, it's been a while, let's catch up. And then they send me a text message and I haven't talked, hey, it's so-and-so, it's been a while. I'm like, yeah, it's been like 7 years, but you have my number. I don't know if you remember who I am. Yeah, I'm like, no, I remember who you are. Like, I don't know, anybody couldn't remember who you are, and they're reaching out and they want to have those conversations from there. So there's an ROI. It's measurable for sure. Maybe not in the traditional sense, but we're seeing it over here.
We're seeing it. And in the demos, people have said, I watched an Instagram video. You asked, how did you find out about us? I've watched Instagram videos, and now, and then here you are talking to me and doing the demo with me. That is definitely an impressive thing as well, that you have that hands-on approach with the newest clients and bringing them in. And I think us being able to show that right now, that can potentially not a long-term plan.
It's not scalable.
But it's not, that's a good way to say it. Yeah. But for now it is, and it's fun. So that's what we're having fun with this too. Just in case you're not already checking this out, we're having fun with doing all this social and coming up with memes and coming up with images and video ideas. It's definitely business, but it's also really fun.
Yeah, and I'm a very straight to the point, like, here's what it is, but I still have fun with it. Like, I like to come on, tell the stories, and it actually gives me an outlet for stuff that, like, the conversations you normally don't have. Even if I was not working remotely and physically in an office with folks, the stuff that I'm sharing, even some of those things, it's not something you share in the office and you don't know where to put it. So it gives you that outlet for there. So we're doing a great job. We'll update you guys in the next episode of where we're at as we go. But I think if you haven't started yet, go back, watch the previous episode and just do something. You don't have to do it all at once. Like I said, we threw up a website in Webflow, and then we then turned it into the WordPress site that we wanted. And then we built it out, and then we added a blog, and then we added a store. Like, just incrementally get better little by little, and don't worry about it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Get out the door, work on something, and then come back to it, or continually know that you're going to work on it little by little. And that's now what we're doing with our social media. We've started the initial push, then we were doing the content. Now it's like, what else can we do? And social is next. And we're seeing the fruits of the labor that we put in. So Dorien, this is working. We're really happy with it. And it's going to continue to get just better and better over time.
Yeah, my goal is to get up to 2 or 3 videos a day eventually on YouTube. That's where we're getting a lot of return on investment. I've got my work cut out for literally cut out. I'm doing lots of cuts, lots of clips, but that's where we're getting a huge ROI. And I wanted to say this, if you're watching this and you have a YouTube channel and you haven't done anything with it, I started one 11 years ago, I think. And if I look at my first video, it's totally cringe, but I leave it up there as a reminder of how you progress. And the same thing will happen with Reviewly. There's going to be a time when our videos will be professionally developed, and we might have a whole video editing team, and we can push out 20 videos a month and long form video. Who knows what we'll be doing? But these are helping us get seen and get known. And we built this and trust factor with all of you who are watching, because we're real, we're here, we're putting in the time to record this for you and sharing what we're doing. And so it will serve a purpose. At one point, we're going to look back and go, I can't believe we did that on Zoom.
Yeah, no kidding. This is what we did. This is what we did back then. So absolutely. So I appreciate you. Like, the stuff that we're doing is really impressive to me, where I just turn on the camera, record something. I take a interview, I take a call or whatever. And then next thing I know, I'm popping up on my own feed. I'm like, whoa, and I've done anything other than just record and drop it into a Google Drive from there. So yeah, this is a great episode. Some of the real key things that we've done over the last couple of weeks, just keep doing something. If you're just doing this for the first time, go out there and do it. And then we'll continue to do what we do on our side, pushing these episodes out, letting you guys see the little key factors that are important to us as we go. And then we're going to hit a point where we either plateau or we run to a stumbling point, or something happens, and we're going to tell you how we got through it or what we're doing to adjust and from there. But from what we're doing right now, it seems to be working. We're going to continue to do that, push it out. I've got a 2-hour block once a week where I just, after my Tuesday meeting day in the afternoon, I usually come off that with a couple ideas. I'll record and then get them into the Google Drive, and then I'm done. I'll wear 3 or 4 shirts and go from there. Maybe I'll hop in the car or something like that. But Dorien, this is working. I'm happy with it. You guys are all along for the ride watching this. And what else do you have to say before we jump on to the next episode?
I was just going to say, if you have any questions, come join our digital marketer community on Facebook. We have a wonderful group. Jeff's really active in there. I'm one of the admins in there. Come ask your questions, or comment beneath. If you see a short or a video of us talking, ask us what we're doing. If you want to know what tools we're using, or how we got started, or how we get past, or how we get our ideas, ask us our questions. We'd love to, in the next episode, be able to answer some of your questions if you have them. So that's what I want to leave it with. We're really transparent. I'll continue to share benchmarking data with all of you. And if you want to know the process, definitely ask.
That's awesome. Yeah, do that, because we are very responsive. And Dorien just said, like, the group is very active as well. I treat it like my email. I check it a couple times a day. I comment and go from there. So we'll post this up on YouTube. We'll get it in the group as we go. And then we look forward to updating everybody as we start to continue to add the followers, the likes, subscribers, and everything we have, and then start to see that ROI from there. So if you're not doing social by now, if you watched 1 or 2 of these episodes, you got to be doing it. I didn't stiff arm it for a while. I just didn't have the time, or I didn't know what I didn't know, or I wasn't fully prepared. We found the right strategist. We got her on board. I interviewed half a dozen, 10 people in there. So find the person that works with you if you don't want to be the one to do it yourself, and then just follow along with what we're doing, put it into place, and then let us know if you guys have any questions from there. Other than that, we'll see everybody on the next episode. Take care. Cheers.